Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Salted Grump, also known as K. Wilson or Selnar here, and we are going to be continuing our endless mode playthrough of Frostpunk to build a generator, prevent our people from freezing to death, and generally just enjoying watching them suffer because of the fact that I know I am a bad player at this game. It's going to be a quiet stream. I have no idea how long it's going to be before my brain decides to melt and fall out of my ears. So let's see what we can do together. Okay, so when we last left off, we were just recovering from a rather nasty blizzard that's kind of screwed over, well, half of everything, so to speak. But that's alright, because we have access to a whole bunch of new stuff, and we have people out and about making sure that we can get new supplies, new parts, and new people. We are still working on some various adaptation laws. In this case, I was going to go and grab the public house, because who doesn't like the pub? Now, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of people being treated and 20 more that are sick. This is from the massive storm that we had to deal with because, well, quite honestly, the storm was incredibly brutal. And that's always nice. Research is always a good thing to have. Next on the to-do list is researching an infirmary. This is almost entirely because of the fact that, well, really, we're going to need it. Our scouts have reached their first abandoned campsite. Let's take a look at what we have. Let's see, we have plenty of rubbish, tent poles, crates, and so on. We've got structural profiles, coal, and wood here, so let's explore. A small airship and an empty cave. Okay, let's see what we can find. So we have 5 real points of access to go to, so let's take a look at each one. So let's start by going to the small airship because that looks like a place that we will actually be able to utilize. That's a nice surprise. We got 17 new engineers, 22 more children, and 37 workers. I forgot about that. So let's just set up for them. And every last one of them are sick. Every last one. Damn it. So now that we've managed to rescue those dorks, let's keep on going. So I'm just taking things rather slowly and methodically at the moment. As you guys can probably tell, I'm mostly just doing this to have a relaxing day. Ah, I apologize if my microphone picked up my recent sneeze because, well, I can never really tell. While I would like to see the generator actually being completed and built and all, I'm planning on doing something kind of stupid. There is an achievement in this game called Ducks in a Row. And anyway, what Ducks in a Row does is that you have to get all of your construction set up and started within 24 hours of the previous construction being completed. So with that in mind, what I am trying to do is get all of the requisite resources I need first before I start actually building things. This is wholly a self-imposed challenge. It is definitely not an intelligent challenge on my part, but because I am playing in endless mode and not playing in slap myself around mode, I can actually get this done in a sort of reasonable sense. There is another achievement for rushing everything and basically screwing yourself over, but well, that's rushing yourself and screwing yourself over. Anyway, so here's hoping we'll see what happens correctly. So, our hunter's hut at the moment produce about 20 food a day. Well, 20 raw food a day. So that's 80 raw food. And our cookhouse produces 4 food rations from 2 raw food. So it's 2 to 1 ratio. So that's a, if my math is correct, we're making 160 food rations a day. The problem is we now have about 250 people here. So we are going to need a couple more hunter's huts. let's add moonshine, because every meal's lowering discontent is a good idea, and who doesn't like a strong drink after a hard day? Another thing I am doing is working on child shelters, not because I dislike them, or I think they're an absolute pain in the ass, because they are an absolute pain in the ass, but quite simply because of the fact that I need some area to fob off all the munchkins onto, and that's very much a efficiency and morale boost while I have enough shelters. Yeah, our scouts have reached the small airship. Let's see what they found. Okay, no hope for survivors, but we might learn something. Got steel, wood, and steam exchangers here. That's a good thing. Supplies, but no bodies. Probably landed after running out of fuel. So, now that that's clear, let's head over to this empty cave. It'll take 1 day and 10 hours to arrive because my scouts are slowpokes, but at the same time, well, we have the time to spare. I am going to need to put out some resource depots soon because I am running drastically low on space for coal. I mean, I don't really need the coal because, well, I don't have a generator up, but at the same time, I'm going to need it eventually. Over here, we have an infirmary, which will be quite useful. Sick are treated faster, and gravely ill can be treated safely and reliably. This will be important long run, and short run, really. I will set research aside for the moment because, frankly, my biggest goal right now is, well, upgrading my steelworks because I am going to need it. Some people are grumbling that it is cold at home, and that's understandable because it actually is cold at home. There's nothing I can really do about that because, of course, the universe hates me and wants me to suffer. So, yeah, it's just at this point very much a matter of being patient and dealing with stuff as the case may be. Thankfully, my number of people being sick is slowly fading, which is nice, and my hope just got a bump because every child now has a place in a child shelter. And with that coal pile depleted, I can now spend a bit of wood, get a fighting arena here, and make people happier. As you can see, as I am now pushing into the mid-game, my biggest physical constraint is quite simply steel. Our scouts have reached the low hill. Well, let's cut the hanged man free. Other bodies are under the snow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Under the snow around this tree lie 3 more bodies, of women and 2 children. We refuse to speculate. We will bury them all and cut down this damned tree. This brittle steel hazard is doing a wonderful job of frustrating me to no end. In no small part because, well, obviously, I need more steel, and with the brittle steel hazard, it increases steel costs. This is a pain in my everything. I'm not exaggerating much. Okay, so with the steelworks temporarily done, I have 45 steel. Let's see if that's enough for me to... It is not. Shenanigans and calumny. On a more serious note, it's just very much a case of being patient, and that's a large part of this game, being patient and making certain that you aren't screwing yourself over. So I have 61 people that are living in chilly homes, 180 in livable homes, and 6 in comfortable because they're in the care house. and it's gonna get colder. And starting this coming morning, the temperature will drop 1 level, which means that everyone will be miserable. Sounds just like being in the frozen north all over again, doesn't it? In time, we will essentially clear out all that we can of the freestanding trees and have to rely on our 2 wall drills for more wood. The sawmill range extension here is what's going to make a difference, though we will need to research the difference engine to get that. That's worth a small chuckle in my opinion. I still have no idea what I'm going to do with 49 annoying little children. Probably feed them to the generator once we get it working. Thankfully, people are being cured, which is nice. In fact, if we look at this view history graph here, we will see that treatments are, well, they suddenly spiked here and then they're slowly plateauing along, averaging about what appears to be 30 people a day, which isn't bad. And our number of sick spiked when we first got that massive bunch of people in shortly after the storm, which was this first spike, and it's happily crawling along, so that's a good thing. Mind still, half of the city is sick, and that's not something we can sustain in the long run, but at the same time, it is still somewhat sustainable for the time being. In fact, I am going to put up another medical post. So it's now 40 below. Everyone is miserable instead of just me, but that's okay. Okay, and a waypoint for exploration. Let's see what we find. The steam lorry and destroyed mine. So, steam lorry is 16 hours away. Destroyed mine is 22 hours away. Let's hit the lorry first. Brittle steel resolves in 3 days, and it's, well, still being a pain in my everything. And my next priority is that as soon as the steelworks is done for the day, I will be upgrading it to the steamworks, because, well, it increases the amount of steel we get by about 175%. So instead of going for 40 a day, it gives me 70 a day. This will add up, and that's vastly important in the course of the long run. Another factor is that I need to get a coal deposit as soon as possible. In this case, the use of a coal mine to maintain that, because I am having a small coal deficit. And this one is now inoperative because it has no more wood in its area of effect. So goodbye to that sawmill. Okay, an empty cave. What's in it? Absolutely nothing. We've found a windblown forest and a round rock, so let's keep on going. I'm setting up this housing section here for two reasons. The first one being quite simply that it will be needed in the future. And the second, so I can clear out these two houses here and put in another major construction unit, because I'm going to need that soon. Okay, a number of untreated sick keeps rising, seems to have another problem, yada yada yada. Okay, so I promised the sick will be treated 3 days to admit 1/3 of the sick to treatment. Well, I can fix that. I will never use this law, but I'm still collecting it. Oh, that's mildly disconcerting. I will probably need another care house in short order. So, good times. Ah, look. Steam cores and steel, always a good loot. So that's the end of that chain. Let's continue on to the destroyed mine. So, yep, looks like my next real objective is to build an infirmary. Good times, right? Okay, let's head on to the scattered sleds for this area. So, there we are. 15 hours away. Can't see any movement or signs of life. Well, let's keep going, right? The fun of the brittle steel hazard remains the fact that it is very much a hazard in every classical definition of the term. It is designed to screw over the player, and it does so exceptionally well. And that should get people to shut up for a while. An infirmary is incredibly useful because of the fact that it works 24/7. It's warm, which is even more important, and it can have up to 10 engineers in there dealing with 20 sick people at a time. Normally it would be 10 sick people at a time, but I have the overcrowding law, so huzzah for me. Now, Thankfully, all of the people who are in palliative care are currently in treatment, so that'll be quite useful, because that means that most of them will get back to work shortly-ish, maybe. And there, with just that, the base efficiency has gone to, well, from a total of 40 people being treated to 60 people being treated, leaving only 20 people left. So that's not a good start. Well, that's not a bad start at all, is it? I am stumbling over my words. People are hungry, so 3 days to feed everyone. Yeah, that's not too hard to do. In fact, 2 hunters' huts will be able to fix that problem post haste. Now, if we look at my economy here, we'll see that I have all of one sawmill left, so I've started up my wall drill. For steel, I just have my steam steelworks, but my daily gain is 98 because of the extended shifts. That is not a bad thing. For food processing, as you can see, I'm on a massive shortfall, so with 2 more hunters' huts being built, that brings my daily gain up to 120 or 240, which will bring my food consumption down to a negative level, which is pretty good in my opinion. For healthcare status, well, it's getting there. It's not too bad, but hey, thankfully nobody's died yet, so good on that. And let's see, scattered sleds, scene of a massacre. Steam cores, wood, and human remains. Attacked by polar bears, judging from damage to the sleds, most of the bodies dismembered, bones bear deep bite marks and signs of chewing. The animals are not interested in the steam cores, so 3 more cores and 74 wood. Yoink! My friend Cool Guy once stated that in Frostpunk, a large part of the game is trying to keep the city going while the scouts do the hard work of saving the city. This is true in the base game, this is true in the first several expansion packs, it is not true in the last autumn, but when push comes to shove, it is still incredibly important. So, let's keep going. There, with the those two hunters' huts added, we should now have more food and hopefully less people being hungry and starving. But we're getting people that are sicker now. This is a concern. That's why I lost one due to an amputation. Ah well, c'est la vie. Okay, at the destroyed mine, well, we have steel, coal, and steam exchangers, so let's explore that. Yep, destroyed completely. Shafts and tunnels collapse, perhaps due to explosion. Valuable supplies in the surface buildings, though. 83 steel, 97 coal, and a steam exchanger. Yoink. And once it warms up a little bit on day 18, thankfully our quota of sick people will start dropping because all of a sudden people will be less likely to freeze while they're asleep. Okay, now there's 12 people starving. This is definitely a concern. And all of a sudden, so much discontent fades because it's warm at home. I am going to have to optimize-ish the hunter's huts at some point. Not for a while yet, though. In fact, I am sorely tempted to build a second infirmary. The big thing here is that infirmary checklists here will increase the efficiency of the infirmary, but I really should focus on infirmary recognition because it needs 5 less engineers. And of course, flying hunters is vastly important because they improve the amount of food I get per day. But again, the choke point is steel. I'm just going to keep collecting structural profiles for the time being, because I'm going to need them. So, thankfully, I've managed to cure the people that were starving, because starvation bad. Okay, a waypoint for our journals. So, we've already been here. Let's head up to Mace Rock, because that's a new spot. Meanwhile, our other scouts have almost arrived at the Windblown Forest, and then we really just have the Desolate Valley and Icy Maze to explore. Both of which are probably just waypoints onto further places. So, hopefully, we'll be able to get more steel. And so, I am going to do something I don't like doing, but I will do it anyway. So, I'm going to wait until work time hits 8 o'clock, and then I'm going to punch the emergency shift and make people work for 24 hours straight. Because we're going to need the steel. While I have signed the law, I'm never going to use soup. So apparently I only need to treat 3 more people. I might be able to succeed at that. Huzzah! Yay, look, healthcare promise fulfilled. I help the sick. Hope rises. Yay! So as you can see, we're down to 3 spots left to explore on the overall map, which isn't bad, so let's keep doing. It appears that sooner rather than later I'll be able to get rid of some of my smaller medical tents because I'll have a second infirmary up. I hope. Yes. Okay, refuses to work, man assigned to emergency shift, yada yada yada. A weirder worn out doesn't want to end up dead like one of his friends. Let him rest. And just assign someone else to his shift. Because I'm a dick. And in 7 hours, the brittle steel hazard will finally fuck off, which is nice. Because that means I can then finally get around to upgrading more tents into bunkhouses. This will be important. And that's much better. With 2 infirmaries taking off the worst of the, well, ills, I can very methodically and very gently start retiring certain buildings. So that's 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 sickbed spaces. So let's just get rid of this one. Next on the list is, well, getting enough food for everyone, because that's also important. I will need to figure out a way to reshuffle this entire mess over here, but that can wait until I have an alternative food source as well. I'm thinking human. And with that dealt with, I can finally start safely upgrading buildings that need to be upgraded, like this one, and this one, and this one, and these two, and these two, and I'm out of steel again. Now, one thing you'll notice when you look at the roadways, you'll see that there's a big heavy-duty steam pipe running underneath the actual planking. In the normal gameplay, those steam pipes are what feeds heat and energy to various buildings, which is why you can't build buildings away from the various roads and such. Of course, without a generator, it's only there for aesthetic purposes, so shenanigans, right? So, I'm just about done with the adaptation laws. I can do dueling or House of Pleasure, both of which I don't really care for. So instead, let's hop into purpose and see what we should do. Should we go for faith? Or should we go for order? I have not done faith. I have done order before. I find order interesting. But when push comes to shove, it's very much a matter of, well, what's more important, hope or, well, lack of despair. So, I'm rambling again. So, yada yada yada, build 2 houses of prayer, sermons. Well, for the neighborhood watch, I can have to build watchtowers, but watchtowers are important because they can be upgraded to guard stations later. Instead, let's go full theocracy. Go absolutely horrible theocracy. Because I'm a dick. Hey there, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, food for overtime. Less and less committed to work. Perhaps we should give them extra rations. Yada yada yada. Nope, can't afford it. So next on the to-do list, get a coal mine going, which means a whole bunch of steel and a whole bunch of wood. I guess you could say this is a very wooden proposition to some people. So I am temporarily turning off my profiles manufacturer simply because of the fact that I shouldn't really have need of it for a while. I have 72 structural profiles in storage, and bluntly I need a lot of wood and a lot of steel to make more bridges, which are going to be vastly important in the near future, because I kind of need 2 bridges to get to this coal pile here. And this one is, well, kind of important. As you can see, most of the places are staying warm, or warmish at least, so that's not too bad. So, my only real complaints at the moment are some people are complaining that it's cold at home and that there's overtime work. Well, sucks to be them because the overtime work isn't going to stop anytime soon.
Right.
Hey, B-Man, how you doing?
I hate Cutler.
I've been there. I know how fun it is. Not very, I admit.
There we go. Yeah, I'm finding your stream.
It took a little bit of scrolling to get to it, huh? Bless you.
say that I'm
Pardon?
just gonna stop talking. I'm having difficulty talking right now.
I see.
It's just an internet thing.
Hope rises, because we now have a cult starting.
A cult?
Yep, a
God
cult.
damn it. Why is there a cult starting?
Because I set up a law saying that a cult should start.
Oh? Who's involved? Wait, I was not talking. Shit. Hey, it's this map again.
Yep, just one of the endless mode maps. It's a rather fun map in my opinion, albeit extremely challenging on resources. So I enjoy it. I have fun, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to have to completely mangle and rebuild all of this, though, because that's just the food supply situation for the time being. I'll probably when I get the access to the flying hunters huts, I'll just tear down the outer row here on these 6, tear up the roadway, and just slide them in as close as I possibly can to each other so I can see how many I can cram in.
Looks like you got it pretty figured out.
I haven't figured out. Most of it for the time being is just waiting for resources because I'm pathetically low on wood and steel, as you can tell. I'm hilariously low on raw food, and I'm hilariously low on food rations, as well as, well, I'm slowly losing coal. And of course, I'm getting a massive whack of resources in short order, courtesy of my scouts. So that'll be nice. Another factor is that on day 24, another storm comes, so that will drop the temperature from -40 to -70 again. And then everyone will freeze. And then we'll have to deal with a massive pile of sick people again.
When is your generator coming up?
When I start building it, I don't have the steel composites or the steam exchanges to do it, and I'm trying to get the ducks in a row achievement, which means getting all of the components of the generator completed and ready to go in, so there's less than 24 hours of downtime between each section.
Okay.
In this case, it means I will have to accumulate a huge amount of steel and a huge amount of steam exchangers, but that's half of the fun.
Yay.
Next up on the list, I'm looking at infirmary mechanization. So infirmaries only need 5 engineers instead of 10 engineers. This one is a very important one because it frees up more hands.
Nice.
But at the same time, I need flying hunters because, well, food. I need cookhouse insulation so the cookhouse doesn't freeze solid. I need housing. Actual houses instead of bunk houses so people stay warm. In generator construction, I need the ventilation plant and foundry researched. In resources, I need the steam well drill upgrade. I need to get coal mining optimization. I need better gathering. I need resource depots. You know, it all adds up. It's insane. It's great, but it's insane. Even in exploration, I want the difference engine and the automatic prototyping so I can get more scouts out and faster scout sleds. For now, though, I'm just going to get improved heaters. Okay, so Scouts Unit 2 is returned safely to the city and drops off 30 structural profiles, 56 steel ingots, 3 steam cores, 80 units of coal, 333 of wood, and 2 steam exchangers. And then I'm going to punt them right back out because there's still some sites to explore.
Oh shit.
You okay?
Yeah, I just it's nothing. It's not. I just accidentally paused the stream.
C'est la vie. Happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just overreacting.
And hello there. How you doing?
Doing good.
Having fun, I hope?
Yeah, just... I got off of work not too long ago because I had like an eye doctor appointment at 11.
Okay. Thankfully, with the sudden influx of wood, I don't actually need to do anything there, so let's just keep on plugging along.
Alright.
Just muttering to myself about my various plans for the city.
Isn't this kind of like the same sort of setup that New Liverpool had?
Not quite. In this case, because it's an endless mode city, you have different challenges. In this case, you have the chasms that you need to build bridges over. And the further you extend, well, the further the screen can go. So, for example, you can see that I can't go further south at the moment due to this screen, because I haven't extended bridges out to this area and this area. But I can extend my camera up further here because I've extended the bridges past the first area. Oh look, the hungrier fed, so they're happy. Hope rises. Yay!
I was talking about the whole generator kind of setup, actually.
Well, the generator setup's kind of important because at the moment I don't have a generator.
Right. Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of referring to, the whole setup for New Liverpool, that you have to actually build the generator.
Oh yes, it's one of the new additions, along with the last autumn DLC, is that in endless mode you can start at a position of you have arrived at your base and the generator had exploded before you got there, so you don't have to build a new one.
Oh, joy.
Yep, so I just found a lost vehicle with steel, coal, and steel composites, so yoink, I'm going to take that. Sites discovered a forlorn camp. Some tents on the horizon, no smoke, 17 hours. Let's go see what's there. So as you can see in this area, I've pretty heavily cleared out as much as I can of the explorables. I only have a small cairn, a desolate valley, and I'm heading to an icy maze with my other scout unit, so let's see what happens. Another big priority is that I am heavily prioritizing upgrading my living situation for all of my citizens and citizens-to-be, because quite frankly they are going to need it, because there's a temperature drop in a day and a bit, and then a blizzard that lasts for a day and a bit, and that drops the temperature down by 3 levels to negative 70.
Ooh. Well, at least it's not like that megastorm that happened at the end of A New Home, so...
To be fair, that megastorm is bloody amazing and impressive in every way, shape, and form, because all you really can do is hunker down, put your head between your ass cheeks, and kiss your arse goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking about temperature-wise, like... -70 blizzard over what was it at the end of a new home again?
Minus 150 Celsius.
Yeah, I take the -70 C over that. Is
That's
there
because you
just
have a
more?
brain. So I'm starting a religious cult.
Um,
Don't worry. It's mostly British.
oh
Especially
man, my
British.
head.
But yeah, as you can see, my primary goal there was just upgrading all of my housing to bunk houses so everyone stays warmer, which is kind of important, and discontent goes up because overcrowded medical. What the fuck? Look, I have 2 fucking infirmaries here, and 3 medical stations. I can contain somewhere in the ballpark of 35 people without overcrowding. And then, of course, the game goes derp and goes priority straight for the first building that has a heating issue or not.
Eh,
So, good times. Mostly.
yeah.
Ish.
Well, I just applied for minus a tangent from the stream. Fuck. Am I coming in clearly?
Yeah, you're coming in fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Just again using my mind.
You have a mind to lose?
Yeah.
Okay, so next on my to-do list is a coin flip between flying hunters, infirmary mechanization, and honestly difference engine and automatic prototyping. I really need to upgrade the higher tiers of research as quickly as I possibly can because there's a lot of stuff that's really important on the high tiers,
Aren't you
and
capped
not
on
just in
steel right
generating.
now?
On
Are you
steel, I
capped on
only have
steel right now?
no. I only have 19 steel, but I only have 1 steel source, and that's a Steam Steelworks. So I want the difference engine so I can get the advanced steelworks, and that'll give me enough steel to keep going for a while. In fact, one of the reasons why I've been considering popping a bridge over here as a priority, even though it's away from the coal mines, is because there's a steel deposit over here that I can get access to, which means bridge here, bridge over there, bridge over here, and way up there, bridge over there. It gives me access to a coal mine. But over here, there's steel wreckage, steel wreckage, steel wreckage, wood wreckage, wood wreckage. It adds up. So with that in mind, I would think I will wait and research the difference engine because I need 75 steel for that. Also, as much as I like the sawmill, it can still be a pain in my butt. Okay, the scouts have arrived at the empty campsite right next to the icy maze. So, let's keep going.
Ah, my eyes hurt.
You okay?
I'm on these new meds and they're fucking me up real bad.
Yeah, that's never any fun. One of
I'm just
the...
hoping that like this is an acclimation period, or I hope that if there's no way I get rid of it, because it's not helping.
Right now, off camera, I'm actually holding a new hat that I just recently got.
Recently got or recently made?
Recently got.
Is it 12? Yes. 11.
So as you can see, I have some good permanent modifiers for my hope, namely every child living in a child shelter, 198 people living near a house of prayer, and oh god damn it.
Ah, goddamn as well.
Yay, people have started to visit the house of prayer. Yay. My cult is growing. So as you can see, by extending a building out here, you can see there's another spot for a wall drill over here. So that will keep me in a hawk for wood in the long term. For now, though, I think I need to start building up some resource depots to just plant stuff where they need to be planted. In this case, I'll probably use one to fill up on food rations, because if I recall correctly, the next major economic malice I might have to deal with, beyond shenaniganery and fuckery with steel, which was the previous blizzard, is the next time it will probably be food situation. 90% efficiency loss in hothouses and such. So I'm going to want to stockpile a lot of food before then, even though I don't have any hothouses at the time being.
Ah,
And so, new law, everyone, new law. Shrines. This is important. Shrines can be built on top of roadways instead of needing a building slot of their own. They raise the hope of people working nearby, and shrines increase the efficiency in workplaces. So of course they cost steel. But as a result, you tend to drop a shrine near every major workplace you have, like, for example, next to your wall drill, next to your steel mine, next to your hunters, all that sort of stuff, and it makes people happier and more willing to work. All of these buildings with all that snow accumulated on them because it's just so bloody miserably cold.
ugh.
Well, that's concerning. Where the hell did the public house get a pinup of a woman? Look at that, right on top of the roof. What the hell?
The hell?
Yeah, that's it's a wooden pinup of a woman showing off. I haven't even signed that law saying that prostitutes are allowed.
You know they are not.
Excuse me.
Ah, here we are. Camp is a sad sight, but not deserted. Survivors. Group of engineers got lost. So we got 17 engineers and 31 workers. Yes. So very yes. No fucking children to deal with. Damn fucking right I'm escorting them to my city.
Yeah.
You see, one of the mechanics in this game that's not really spelled out very well is that in endless mode, there's a soft cap of about 700 people in your city. And children, being completely fucking useless, take up that cap. Thus the running joke of feeding children to the generator.
Oh, that gag.
Well, I wouldn't really call it a gag per se, but it's less of a running joke than some people might claim after a while. Okay, and now it is discomforting, but that's okay. And now I actually do have to worry about my coal intake and outtake. This is going to be a minor problem.
God damn it, I can't even read.
So, 10 people being treated, 0 in palliative care, yay. I have 4 amputees that I have to deal with later. And by deal with, I mean feed to the generator. And then I'm going to need a massive amount of steam exchangers. Yay. And most importantly, when a storm starts, any work on the generator that's ongoing fails and gets kicked back. So, in this case, if I had any percentage of progress completed here and the storm rolled in too early, I would have the option of using rushed construction to cause problems once the generator is put to use, or I would lose all progress as soon as the storm hit. Okay, let's see what we got. Steel and coal in the icy maze. So, sled of supplies, abandoned by someone, yada yada yada. Frozen excavation time. 15 hours away. I am on day 21, and day 24 is when the storm rolls in, so we are going to be recalling our scouts shortly.
Shortly or immediately?
Shortly, they can still stick around for a day or so outside.
Okay.
The big thing is that I have a massive pile of resources and survivors coming in, which is going to be incredibly important in the short run. So, shrines, quite useful and all that. Gaining hope, places in range, steam steelworks. And the steelworks gets an efficiency boost. Every employee delivers 10% plus 2% for working near a shrine, so base efficiency is now 120%. That adds up.
One second, maybe we'll attend something. Attend to something.
People started to leave personal charms, yada yada yada, at shrines as votive offerings, trying to keep their spirits up. I'm glad to hear that. Now here's something important. I'm going to plant a shrine near my major medical facilities, for the obvious reason therein of plus 2% efficiency per person. And over here I can plant a shrine and get both other medical facilities, my engineering work, and the generator construction site in. Which isn't too bad at all, is it? And if I go up here, you can see that the shrine does not actually have an effect on the hunters' lodges because the hunters leave the city to hunt animals. So, that's always interesting. Meanwhile, if I drop a shrine over here, I can, well, feed my cookhouse a bit more efficiency and make people cook more effectively. But that's not really needed at the moment. So at the moment, my Steam Steelworks produces 84 steel per regular work shift, but because I'm adding on another 4 hours to the work shift, it adds even more. With the economy here, as you can see, it shows I have a daily gain of 117 steel. That is definitely not small potatoes. Mind, it is still relatively small potatoes in the larger scheme of things, but, well, we can't have everything, can we?
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Oh my eyes. God, did I mention that I can't focus on things?
You might have mentioned it offhandedly.
Jeez, this medicine's gonna kick my ass. Glasses. There you go. Go away, glasses.
So, I really have technically two priorities, but the first one is, well, get coal. So, I am going to have to build a bridge as soon as I can to gain access to this site here.
Are you playing Death Stranding?
Nope. This game is fun, unlike Death Stranding.
I actually like Death Stranding. I mean,
So,
yeah, I get it. Like, I do like
here's a building that I will never build. A field kitchen. Provide people working nearby with hot meals. That's nice. So, what it does is that it raises the temperature of nearby workplaces by 1 level. But, well, it costs me food. I'd rather use my food for, keeping people fed. The House of Healing is, well, about as useful as it sounds. It's basically a crap infirmary. So instead, let's go for evening prayers. It's completely optional. It raises hope, it reduces discontent, blah 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 blah, and hey, it unlocks access to the temple and faith keepers. Faith keepers, by the way, are religious police. So, what do you guys think? Should I continue with my self-imposed challenge of the Ducks in a Row achievement, which involves getting steel composites and steam exchangers up to about 60 and 60 respectively before I start building the generator? Or do I just relax, kick back, and survive the storm through the skin of my teeth again?
How far away is the storm?
The storm is currently 2 days away. 2 full days away. There's no way in hell I'm actually going to be able to build anything in this storm cycle. So what I want to do is, well, build up on my composites and exchanges collection so I can, well, keep adding shit to the shit that needs doing pile. My real constraint, so honestly, is my steel production or lack thereof. Because at the moment, to build a single steam exchanger, I need 20 steel.
Okay.
Now, if I go through to the redesigned templates, I can reduce that cost by 20% and the production time by 50%, but it's still steel, 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 steel. Everything needs steel. It's insane.
Are they trying to teach you to be a kleptomaniac?
Well, not quite klepto, but it feels like it some days.
also waiting on some shoes coming in.
What about shoes?
I ordered some new shoes. They should be coming in today. It's looking at it from the FedEx tracking.
Nice, but be aware,
Well.
sometimes they get it wrong.
Let's be fair. FedEx earned its nickname of Fed Up some time ago for a reason.
Yeah, most of the stuff though came in through like my local post office.
So while I am going to continue-ish to build small resource depots, I am eventually going to research the large depots for the obvious reason therein of them being incredibly useful. But those 3 small depots will allow me to bump up my coal storage, my steel storage, and my raw food storage because, frankly, well, they're going to be needed eventually.
Also, I'm getting ready for remodeling my bathroom coming off spring break. I'll probably like get like some before and after photos when it's all said and done.
Will it be used to attract females?
Filipinos?
It's like okay, it's like all when you asked like the way that you asked it, Grub, it was honestly really creepy. You're asking me to get like a full harem of women coming into the bathroom and all that stuff. I'm like, no.
Good. Because it's supposed to be fucking hilarious. So, found a new landmark. Snow huts and a rock spire in the area. Let's see what we can do. Hints of smoke. 11 hours away.
What?
Did we lose Grump?
No, you shouldn't have. Testing, 1, 2, 10.
I can't
Yeah,
hear
you're back.
You see? You can't get rid of me. I'm like a bad egg.
I'm your front though.
I was thinking more of like the one guy from Goldeneye who goes, "Yes, I am invincible."
And then he fucking dies.
To be fair, he deserved that death.
He did deserve it. Okay, so here's the thing. I have not watched Gold.
Have you played the N64 game?
Yes.
That's good
I
enough.
didn't own it, but I played it.
That was Boris. Because I have seen Goldeneye.
Ah well, punishing Boris is always easy, because it's Boris.
Of course. And it's also another guarantee. Sean B will die.
Seriously, 10 dorks going to eat all at once, half an hour after the shift started.
I'm gonna step out for a moment. I'll be back.
Have fun. Oh, I heard a thumping noise. There we are. Let's see what this is. Storm on the horizon. Yep. And so, way out here, you can see the very crawling edges of the storm slowly pushing inwards. The fun parts about storms like this is that they all converge on this city. Why are people getting sick all of a sudden? Oh wait, that's why. It's 'cause it's fucking cold out. So I have about 2 days worth of coal left. This is a problem. Okay, and these scouts are going to be sitting at the city for a while, because, well, on the bright side, 237 steel means I have, all of a sudden, resource options. This is important for me. So it's going to take me 2 bridges to get to the nearest coal deposit.
Okay.
So, the game won't actually let me expand heavily, per se, but it will show me where each bridge goes. So in this case, I need 2 bridges to get to that coal mine over here. Bip and bip. Or 2 bridges here and here to get to this coal mine. Or 1 bridge to get to this wall drill site. Or 1 bridge to get to this wood. Or 2 bridges to get to the steel mine over here. All of those are important, but I am going to have to prioritize the coal mine. And survivors, yay! Sheltered in the snow huts during a storm. When it was over, they found their sleds had become stuck in ice. 2 men sent for help vanished without a trace. So 37 workers and 18 children. Well, fuck the kids, but I'm gonna escort the survivors to my city.
What's going on? I can't see.
And here we are, we got a ping. Long hours of toil, da-da-da, people are worn out. Regular shifts everywhere for 3 days. Hi there, B-Man. Can you hear
I was
me?
trying to ask, like, what? Yes, I can. I just can't see anything because I have to take my glasses off.
Well, that's the issue with the glasses, isn't it?
No, it's not.
I know, it's the meds.
My eyes.
I'm just gently pulling your chain a little bit because, well, it's better than the alternative.
I appreciate it, but the fact of the matter is, I'm not. It's hard for me to distinguish right now.
You know, for safety's sake, you mentioned you had to consider driving somewhere. I would sincerely suggest saying I cannot drive in this condition.
No, here's the thing, right? It's only nearsightedness. When things are close to my face, like a fist distance away, or farther. No, let me measure this actually. Okay.
Look, I have an army of peons building a bridge for me.
Okay, so peons, and okay, so I can read my phone as long as way, like I'm holding my phone at an arm's distance away from myself. I can read that, but if I move it closer, then I have to focus, and that hurts, and I can't see anyone because I can't do it.
Sounds fun. Not.
No, it's not. I know you're sarcastic, but I need to put a. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of like. I'm not tired. I'm gonna shut up now.
It's okay.
I'm gonna give myself a connection. they almost done?
And they just finished.
Awesome. God damn, I cannot do anything with my glasses right now that's up close to my face.
And then I immediately set out to build the second bridge because, well, the coal mine's right there.
Death Stranding? What was that?
I have
Oh,
no idea. Ah, there we are. How you doing?
What is that noise?
That was just my email notification going off.
God damn. You know, when I get money, I'm gonna get like a fucking LASIK surgery.
And I already just dropped like $250 on new frames.
So far, my friends are doing good. For now.
Yeah, I tried going for contacts a little while back, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah, contacts takes a special kind of mentality, and that's not one a lot of people can tolerate, really.
Yeah, so the frame... Yeah, the frames I'm getting are Oakley airdrops.
Okay, nice.
So hey, the storm is expanding. Or more
Ooh.
accurately, it's contracting around me.
Cool. It's shrinkage. Every town suffers from that. It's fine.
It's a storm made of a sphincter.
Erotic?
I was thinking of
Or
that
traumatic.
I was thinking of the one Scorpion song where it goes rocky like a hurricane or something like that.
Well, that's where the good hearty chuckle.
Well, my name is Knuckles. Okay. Glasses on. So I can see.
So, because of all those survivors that I picked up, I now have 56 people being treated for sickness.
Yay. So that's 3 though.
Well, I have 6 people that are wandering around being sick, and I have 60 people actually being treated. And then I'm going to pick up, let's see, 37 more workers and 18 children. Fucking children.
I don't know, I'm starting to like my kids, my nephews.
Yeah, but that's because they actually do stuff that's not an active hindrance to the rest of the city.
Yeah. But they're not the cat either.
And Scouts Unit 2, 18 children, 37 workers, 37 steel, 79 coal. Not a bad kick. But now I have 60 people that just walked in and they're all sick, and I have 6 homeless. Fuck.
Hell man, you don't need more houses. I say new houses immediately.
Okay, so that's 2 new houses set up. And a new law.
How many
So,
people got bunked up?
the
Go ahead.
temple. This is essentially the major source of religious cultism. Magnificent temple. Raises hope. Discontent will occasionally fall. Ceremonial service has an ability. Raises hope, can comfort the discontented. Have to build the temple. Only be one temple in the city. So, not too shabby and all that. It's just 40 wood, 40 steel. It's just another thing to build.
Just stick it on the hole that the janitor was gonna go in. Purple.
I need more steel to build the temple. On me.
I will not complain.
I currently have 92 people that are sick citywide. Make that 97. And finally, I can build a coal mine.
Yay.
And honestly, because we are going to need it, and because the universe likes screwing with me anyway, I'm going to build a third infirmary.
I need healing.
Pretty much. I mean, I have 70 people being treated and 26 more still being sick.
I will not be sick.
And the problem is, of course, is that there's a storm coming.
The storm's always coming, dude.
And at some point I need to build the temple. As you can see, by selecting an option like children, you can actually see the little blighters walking around. Because they're little highlights. Most of them are apprenticed to the various medical facilities, so they actually sit around and help out at the medical facilities, which is nice. So for example, my infirmary here has an efficiency of 144% because, well, there's the efficiency breakdown of working near the shrine, and then there's even more for the kids helping out. And there we are, I now have enough steel to build the temple, so let's do that. Only one temple in the city. Where should I put it? Because it's a big building. And I don't really have enough space left in the central aisle, so to speak. So, I think we will drop it right here. Now, I can use the middle mouse button to rotate the temple, like so. And normally the building is facing inwards towards the generator site, but in this case I think I will give it a spin and pop it out like so. Blah. Come on, brain. Work with me, brain. There we are. That's a good spot. And just bip to... Oh, can't do that. Bip to bip, and huzzah, got a temple. Because this island's basically, well, tits useless.
What is?
This little mini island is otherwise completely useless for anything, really.
It's only telepath, then, right?
Yeah, I'm essentially just using it as a path to get to the coal mine. Given time, patience, tolerance, so on and so forth, I could probably optimize it pretty heavily, but that's for someone else to arse about, and I don't care about optimization right now. And hey, look, the storm is getting closer. Not much left.
Yeah, that's fun. Are you gonna be recalling your scouts?
Oh, they're already recalled. They're sitting in my city. And because of that, they won't get hurt. Because as you can see, they are idle at our city. And as a result of that, they are technically recalled. They're shielded by the city because they're basically sitting in the beacon.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that took a while for me to figure out. You don't actually have to disband the scouts to keep them safe when they're, what's the term I'm looking for? When they're fully sorted. Last moment to finish the stage of construction. So, yep, all progress on the current stage of construction will be lost. Only way to avoid this is finishing the stage in the next 2 hours before the storm. Rushed construction will achieve this, but it will cause problems when the finished generators put to use. There is an achievement for using rushed construction and basically fucking up the generator so badly you basically have to tear it down and rebuild it. But, well, I'm not certain if I want to do that yet, because I'm already doing ducks in a row and that's our challenge enough as is. And the temple is now built. Huzzah! And the coal mine is now available for use. That will give me 240 coal a day. So that's not too shabby, seeing as how my coal consumption is only, well, 40 a day. But I also have coal pile, and, well, the gathering post is adding 132 a day, so my actual coal gain is 372. That is not bad. But at the same time, this is all precluding the fact that I don't have a generator, and the generator's a coal hog. For wood status, 350 a day is definitely not small potatoes. The gathering post is currently the least daily gain, but what the hell, right? Got 2 access to wood crates now, instead of just 3 access, actually, my bad. For steel, well, I still have 5 bits of wreckage floating around the site, and just the 1 steel works. I really need to work on that because steel is so vastly important, even in the short, medium, and long term. So, here's an issue. I'm only gaining 280, but I'm consuming 340 a day. Good thing I have 337 stored. Health-wise, I have 69 citizens in treatment, 0 untreated citizens, and if you look at this bar here, you will see that it went from a steady decline to when I built my second infirmary to just BAM, like that. Decline because, well, people were out finally being treated and recovering, and on day 21 a whole bunch of sick idiots shows up. For housing, I currently have 350 housed citizens in 36 houses, 346 of them, and I have 30 vacant beds, of which 16 are in the care house. The care house is, well, we all know how that is. It's careful. Yeah, I know, stupid pun. But essentially, if I get those 4 people out of the care house by giving them prosthetics, I will have every building in the city full of people. And let's just bump this infirmary as well, because it never hurts. And that infirmary will be useful because that means I can have up to 60 people sick in an actual medical facility, and another 30 people sick in, essentially, emergency medical facilities. This is not a bad option. The pings are his email.
Yeah, the pings are my email. I already.
Like I said, I'm kind of really scatterbrained right now, so
So what I want to do at the moment is I want to get the difference engine up and running, because that's tier 4 research and then automatic prototyping. This is a long-term goal, as mentioned, but it's an important goal. The machine shop is thankfully already built, but I'm going to need to build a foundry as well, simply because of the fact that it's what allows me to produce steel composites. So, madly off in every direction, you know? And honestly, yeah, heaters will burn less coal. Yes, let's do this, because we're going to need to use heaters a lot in the storm.
you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's not like we have any other option to keep people warm.
I'm sassing you.
Yes, I know.
Damn.
So as you can see, I now have a bunch of hope modifiers. This is the temple, every child has a shelter, 85 people work near a shrine, 235 people live near a house of prayer, and a promise was fulfilled in the last 24 hours. And here it comes. The storm is crawling closer.
Crawling. On its hands and knees and feet.
More like its claws and teeth.
Soon to become a Linkin Park song.
Crawling in my skin.
There you go, you got it.
I still cannot believe that that song got so popular. Okay, I have nothing left to do but just wait this out, because it's going to be fun in the sense of the Chinese word. Well, the Chinese curse, so you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna bounce out for a little while, alright?
Have fun and take care of yourself.
You too.
And look at that. The stormy sphincter is closing over this city. And I've just adjusted the heating situation, so I have about a day's worth of coal left. And if you look at my coal management, you'll see I've gone from 40 consumption a day to 605 consumption a day. All of which is heaters.
Damn, what the fuck?
Heaters.
Oh.
And that's why I have the heater efficiency upgrade being researched, because, well, one less heater cost per hour. Because, yeah, at the current moment I have heaters level 2 going here, and each heater consumes 2 coal per hour when running, right? So, most workplaces, they're currently operating 10-hour shifts, so that's workplace times 10, so 10 coal times, and so on and so forth, and it adds up, you know? Because I have some workplaces that operate 24/7, namely the healthcare facilities like the infirmary. it's now chilly out.
Oh god, it's getting cold. God, it's getting
So, it's...
cold.
In this case, it is... The medical posts are inoperative. They simply do not produce enough heat to stand up against a -5 no other malice. So, I'm still gaining some coal. Because it went from 605 to 332. But, another thing is that my hunters' huts cannot operate because they're disabled by the storm.
Dang it. How are we gonna get food now? Shit. What does those sliders do?
These turn on or off the heaters in the buildings.
Are you turning them on?
I was, yes. Some of them on, some of them off. The big thing is that, quite frankly, the building insulation is a factor, and the base level of the coal mine and the wall drill have very little insulation, if any. The steam steelworks, however, has +2 building insulation instead of +1 insulation, so it can operate and people only have a mild risk of getting sick. But I have 231 people who are currently freezing their asses off. And, yeah. So I have to keep an eye on that. I have to do my best to make certain that people just stay inside and bundled up and all that sort of stuff, because it's just common sense, you know? Also, you will note that the beacon pulled its balloon down and mounted itself on top of the beacon just to make certain that it doesn't get blown away by the storm itself. Okay, people are starting to suffer from mild frostbite and getting ill because, of course, fuck my life. 258 people are now freezing out of 350. And that's one more in the amputee pile. I have 5 people in palliative care, 5 amputees, so I'm going to need another care house. Okay, man was found crying inside the temple, approached and asked if he needed help, yada yada yada. Thought my faith died long ago with my wife and daughters in London. Couldn't see any purpose in our new life, fighting for survival. When I entered the temple, I saw a future, and now I'm ready to face it. I'm glad to hear that. It's not quite a cult yet. It will be a cult if I want it to be, though. To the point where I can burn dissidents alive in the exhaust of the generator. And with the heater efficiency upgrade, it went from 350 to 166 a day. Not too shabby at all.
You got it. I gotta go. Let's step away for a bit.
So I have 2 real options at the moment. I'm going to go for the steam coal mine because, well, it will allow the coal mining to be warmer. Kind of important. I do appreciate the little streamers of snow falling into the crater from above, courtesy of the storm. It's beautiful in its desolation, I suppose you would be best way to describe it. New law time. So let's see what we can do. Righteous denunciation. It is the duty of the faithful to denounce wickedness. A sign of compassion to bring wicked to light. So yeah, this law is controversial because it means I can claim resources from people without their consent. The cookhouse is literally too cold to cook things in. Welcome back.
Not back, just hi.
Yeah, close enough.
You guys doing a stream?
Yep. Frostpunk stream. I started about an hour or so ago, just on the second storm now in an endless mode.
Oh, fun times.
And I don't have a generator.
Why not?
Because I need to build it.
Okay, yes. I suppose that question was a little bit misleading. Why haven't you?
Because I'm a lazy bastard and I'm trying to get the ducks in a row achievement.
Oh. Well. May as well, I guess. Get your ducks in a row. All the easier to snipe them.
Well, in this case, I'm quite screwed because of the fact that I need a vast amount of steel composites and steam exchangers, and that costs steel. And I have a grand total of one source of steel in the entire area because the map is broken up into small clumps.
Yep.
So, you know, good times had by all. Not.
Well then, best of luck.
Well, that's half of the fun, right? Trying to survive without screwing up too badly.
Yep. Well, take care.
Have fun. And that's one more pile to the... Whoa, holy shit, what? Wow. Fuck my life. Wow, I am so screwed. I went from 5 amputees to 54 amputees. Just let me state that again. From 5 to 54. Wow, I'm fucked. Well, I guess I know what I'm going to have to do next. I'm going to have to research and build a factory and then start building prostheses. Just, wow, that was a punch right in the balls. And a new temporary hazard, rotten roots. Overwhelm the environmental controls of our hothouses, the roots of plants have rotted. Until they regrow, their hothouses work at 10% efficiency. Alright, a woman has told us she overheard her neighbors talking about hoarding food and supplies. We will follow the lead. Yoink! Some supplies will be recovered. So, yeah. Now, once I'm done researching the steam coal mine, I have to research a factory. Fuck my life. Anyway, let's get these guys going, because it's a new area to explore. Okay, ice obelisk for you, and for you, let's head to the uprooted tree. Bing bing. So yeah, that was a short, sharp kick in the pants. So, once I actually finish this research for the steam coal mine and start upgrading my coal mine, I think I will have to call it, because wow. I can't really say much more than that. I'm just impressed. The game just reached over, grabbed me by the ear, and said, "No, bad," and proceeded to smack me one. So now I need to get the factory researched, and I'm gonna start on a steam coal mine just because I can. But I think I am going to have to call it for the day. Thank you for coming along. Thank you for enjoying my amusement and incredulous suffering at the same time. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. Take care of yourselves, stay out of trouble, and I hope you have fun.